Hey everyone, my name's Sam. I like to talk about all things film, Blu-ray and physical media. And if you watched my previous video, I covered the top 10 Blu-rays and 4Ks of 2023 that I bought and watched. That was a ranked video. This video is not going to be ranked, but it will showcase 5 of what I consider to be the top 5 box sets of the year. And there'll be some honourable mentions at the beginning of this video because there are some box sets that I wasn't able to finish, or I only basically dipped my toe into, but I felt like I know that the quality is there, and I just wanted to showcase some of the great stuff that's been done by various different labels. So first honourable mention is from Arrow Video, and it's the Enter the Video Store Empire of Screams box set. This was a hot item when it was announced. It sold out extremely quickly and was subsequently going for very silly money on the secondary market. Thankfully, luckily, it's been reissued, but with without the booklet in a sort of standard edition, but you still get all the films and stuff. And yeah, it's just a collection of sort of like video store sort of B horror movies and sort of action movies as well. And I mainly bought this because of the Stuart Gordon directed films, who I'm a big fan of. And yeah, the rest of the box set is pretty cool. One of the best things that Arrow put out this year, and yeah, I'm very happy to have it in my collection. Second honourable mention is a box set that I've only just dipped my toes into. It's a very extensive and overwhelming set, and it's also very niche subject matter. So I'm talking about Severin's Central World of Black Emmanuel. So this is a 24 film set, which is just bonkers, and it has this amazing book. So it's called the Black Emmanuel Bible, and it's just like an extensive look at every single film in here, and just it's just a marvel of love and care and just devotion to one particular, set of films in basically what is her own franchise, a film, her own genre is what it says on the back here. But yeah, these are very niche. It's sort of like European exploitation, erotic, sometimes softcore sort of filmmaking. But a lot of people around the world regard Black Emmanuel as a feminist icon, and yeah, it's just, I'm fascinated by this sort of stuff, and yeah, I had to mention it because the love that Severin have put into this is just next level, and to include 24 films must have been an absolute crazy adventure to put together, and it has 40 hours of special features on it, which is just, that's just mind-blowing. But yeah, excited to delve more into this. As I said, I've only watched 3 of the films and also the documentary on Joe D'Amato in here, which was really good, who collaborated with Laura Gemser, who played Emmanuel in these films for the majority of them. And that was a really interesting sort of look at the man and his filmography and his ethos and just everything about him, and it includes stuff about Black Emmanuel. So yeah, honourable mention number 2. And honourable mention number 3 is the Vinegar Syndrome Lost Picture Show. Again, this is one I've only watched a few films from, as well as the Against the Grain documentary in here, which I highly recommend watching as a primer for this set if you've picked it up, or if you're interested in delving into this. So this is a very interesting story because it's 10 films that were considered lost. These have been discovered in the Vinegar Syndrome archive of films that they preserve and restore and distribute around the world. So many people know that Vinegar Syndrome is a Blu-ray label that specialise in things like horror, exploitation and things of that ilk, but they're also a centre to store actual film materials, and they've bought various different collections, or rescued collections from complete destruction, and to this day they're still sifting through all of this material, trying to find various different films that probably haven't been screened or seen by anyone since they were first projected, when they were first made. And yeah, there are 10 films in this collection, various different genres, horror, exploitation, sexploitation. There's even a kids film in here that looks bizarre. And then the documentary, which is basically the look at all these Blu-ray labels that are doing this work of restoring genre film and distributing it, and just the things that go into it in a quite interesting detail. And I love that documentary, and it just got me pumped for the set. And as I said, I watched a couple in here, and it's interesting so far. But yeah, the package is fantastic. Folds out like this, and then you get two slip covered Blu-ray cases, which have 3 discs in each, I think, and then each of these comes with a book as well. It's just stacked, and the price point on this was ridiculous. It was like $70 or something. The mission statement of Vinegar Syndrome is something I'm super into. At this point, they're probably my favorite Blu-ray label, doing amazing stuff. So I had to mention this, but couldn't include it in my top 5 because I haven't watched all the films. But I had to bring it up. So let's start with the top 5 proper. I'm going to start with a box set of 3 films, came from the Criterion Collection, and it's Todd Browning's Sideshow Shockers. It's a tongue twister, a little bit, for me anyway. Freaks, The Unknown, and The Mystic. Now, the big selling point for this film for many people was Freaks. For many people, it's a masterpiece of sort of pre-code horror. For the longest time, it was hard to see in good quality. I mean, until this point, it's never looked any better. And unfortunately, the film is incomplete, and it probably will be that way forever, as things have been cut, in its early days of distribution and screenings. Things have been cut from it and have just been lost to time. But this version of the film, it just looks superb, and some of the extras, supplements and stuff here. Now, The Mystic is a pretty good silent film from Todd Browning. I enjoyed it, but the real surprise of this set, I do think Freaks is the best film in this set, but the big surprise was The Unknown. What a silent film that was, starring Joan Crawford and Lon Chaney. And all of these films are concerned, as with the title of the box set, it's Sideshow Shockers, concerned with like the carnival and circus performance and just misfits and people that don't fit in. And the Unknown is just wonderfully acted, particularly from Lon Chaney, who's trying to win the heart of this woman who's in the circus with him. And I won't spoil anything, but it's like he may not appear to be what he is. And just a wonderful release from Criterion. And I think it's deserved of many film collectors around the world to look into this one, and I'm sure it will be on many other people's lists. Next up is an inclusion mainly because of my attachment to the films. I'm talking about the Quartet of Torment. I went for the Pinhead, Hell Priest design, and these films look fantastic on 4K. And I love the design of this. So this is sort of, as you can see, these have got holes in, so you can see the packaging underneath. Comes with a superb book called Ages of Desire, and it covers, it's like proper, hardback book, and it comes with loads of writing on the films. And if you're a huge fan of the Hellraiser franchise, I say a huge fan of the franchise. I love the first 3 films, the 4th film, but it was interesting to have the work print version of the film on here, just add some more context to the film that many of us who love this franchise know. But yeah, the presentation, audio and visually, is just amazing. Loads of great special features, and I love the packaging. And I had to include this in my top box sets for the year. Next up, a box set from Radiance Films. Radiance Films have had an absolutely stellar debut year. Largely to do with being helmed by Fran Simeone, who used to work for Arrow, and he had put out and worked on a lot of the fantastic releases from Arrow Academy and Arrow Video. But yeah, this guy knows exactly what he's doing. He knows what general cinephiles want from a label that have no specific genre that they're promoting. Other labels have a niche or have a specific thing. They may branch out from time to time and do different things to test the waters, or they get their hands on something license wise and they put it out. But Radiance at the minute don't appear to have anything that they're focusing on, and I'm loving that. And it's always a surprise to see what they're putting out. I'm currently up to date on having everything that Radiance have put out, apart from the Piet Shulkin set, because I've got that from Vinegar Syndrome already, and it includes an extra film, and I just can't afford to be double dipping on things like that, especially when keeping up with all this is expensive enough as it is. Anyway, I digress. I'm talking about Cosa Nostra, the Franco Nero in 3 Mafia tales by Damiani. What a box set. This was their first box set, and what a stunner it is. I absolutely adored The Day of the Owl, one of my favourite first-time watches of the year. The case is closed, forget about it. It's a really good sort of prison drama thriller. And then How to Kill a Judge is just nicely rounds up the box set. And there's some fantastic interviews with Franco Nero, who, you know, is not a spring chicken anymore, but, you know, he's been able to be sat down and, you know, talk extensively about what he can remember about, you know, filming these films in so long ago now. But yeah, the quality of the box itself, the design, and just all the films inside, each getting their own cases, and the booklet is just superb stuff. And you know, everything the Radiants are doing is just exactly what I want from a Blu-ray label. So yeah, had to include this one. My next pick is a extensive but not complete filmography of a director who I truly love. Very controversial figure. When I say I love him, I love his work, maybe not the man himself, because he's a very interesting and opinionated, and I think says a lot of controversial things that I don't agree with. But regardless, I think his work stands aside from him, and I just truly love him. He's probably in my top 5 directors of all time. And I'm talking about Curzon's Lars von Trier box set. Now, why I said this isn't complete is because it doesn't have Dancer in the Dark, but if Curzon had the rights to that, they would have included it. So that film is being tied up somewhere. Who knows? Possibly something to do with Bjork, as she has vocally said a lot of disparaging things about Lars von Trier, and because of her singing and music original music is included in that film, there must be something to do with the rights that she's basically not willing to approve, and then that film is just stuck on DVD forever. Who knows? But other than that, this film, I think, has everything that Lars von Trier has ever done, apart from the TV stuff, which is getting a restoration release by Mubi in the new year, which I'm excited for. I've only seen bits of The Kingdom, but it's including all 3 parts of The Kingdom. All of these films are at least interesting. There's a couple of his early films that really didn't work for me, but when it picks up in the middle of his career to like modern day, I love pretty much everything that he's made, and to have all of his films in one box set, and it has some amazing art on here as well. And Curzon do these lovely, to the touch, sort of fabric sort of box sets to give it that really deluxe sort of feel and touch and aesthetic. And yeah, I really love this, and there's some special features on here as well, but just to have a collection of all of his films on Blu-ray. Most of them are from new restorations. There's even some weird like 3K restorations of some of the films in here, which is very odd, but everything looks superb, apart from a couple of the early ones, but that's just the film elements that it was made with. But yeah, absolutely adore this, and yeah, it's expensive, you know, probably wait for a sale, unless, I don't know how limited this is. It's not a limited edition, but some of the other Curzon sets were limited to like 1,000 copies. But they are a bit more pricey, but it's premium stuff. So, you know, you're paying for what you get. Now, all of those that I just mentioned weren't ranked, but this is my favorite box set of the year. For many people, this is going to be, if they ever picked this up and started watching it, they were probably thinking, this is one of the worst things I've ever seen. For me, this is one of the most interesting film stories that I've ever come across since I've been like really invested and interested in film. And I'm talking about From Hollywood to Heaven, the lost and saved films of the Ormond family.
You in? All the way. All the way.
This is an absolute treasure. I've finally finished this box set, and I've covered this a couple of times on the channel, and I will do a separate video covering this box set from start to finish. When I do that, I don't know. Hopefully some early in the new year. But the story of this box set is a a bunch of films that were made by sort of early, not pioneers, but early exploitation filmmakers, really low budget, regional films, various different subjects. So we have like Hicksploitation, which has like a country musical element to it. We have like a race car driving film. We have like sexploitation sort of things with the exotic ones. And then during the middle of their career, the family that make these films, June, Ron, and Tim Ormond. June and Ron are a married couple, and their son is Tim. They almost died in a plane accident, and after their survival, they had an awakening and were basically sort of born again Christians, and sort of steered their career towards making Christian scare films, which from the outside looking in, for someone who personally doesn't have any faith, is a very interesting study of what makes people of faith tick, and just the extremes that some religions can take. And it's quite funny in places, it's scary, and your mileage will vary, is what I'm going to say. But for me, the story of this, because some of the films in this box set, I've said this before and people have laughed at me, they're terrible, but they're interesting terrible, but they're not the sort of terrible where it's so bad it's good. It's just who made this? Why did they make this? Why did they choose to make it the way it looks and sounds, and just the acting choices and the direction? It's just a weird mess. Some of the films are generally quite good and they're well made, but then again, the elements that this film uses, unfortunately, the original camera negatives and other various prints were lost in a flood of Tim Ormond's home like 13 years ago. So some of the presentations we are given are like standard definition from what look like sort of upgraded VHS rips. May sound really bad. So I mean, why would you want to watch that? But I'd rather have that than these films be lost forever and no one wants to watch them because the quality isn't up to what we're used to for modern restoration and preservation. But when the only elements that are available are what we have here, you got to present that to the people who may be interested in this stuff. And I am interested in this, and it's truly one of the best things that I've watched this year as a story. Like, none of the films in this box set will make my top 20, 25 films that I watched for the first time this year. But as a complete package, as a story of filmmakers who, changed the trajectory of their career due to a very near fatal accident, it's just fascinating. And there's some really great commentaries on here. And I also picked up the Jimmy McDonough book to go with this. And it's an extensive collection of writings. And you got all behind the scenes photos from back in the day when they were making these films in the 60s. And it's just wonderful. If you're interested in weird genre films made by eccentric, crazy people, this might be for you. I know that this has been featured in a few people's lists, end of year lists, but it's not been covered too much. But I think it's because of how niche it is. But in terms of like a collection of films put together, nothing has surpassed this year for me. I think this is one of the best discoveries I've made, and the box set is just something I'll treasure forever. And I will look forward to going on this journey with my son maybe one day when he's old enough to maybe appreciate these films. But I adore this, and yeah, it's my number one, even though the rest of the top 5 wasn't ranked. But this is my favorite box set of 2023. Wow, so I nearly talked for 20 minutes about a few box sets. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of these box sets, if you picked them up, and what were your favorite box sets of the year. There's so many others that I could have chosen, or others that I haven't even got round to watching yet or haven't picked up. But there's so many things. It's just, physical media is alive and thriving, and there's just so much great stuff happening in the space for film discovery and film conversation. So I'm really excited for 2024. Yeah, so the next video will be my top 20, maybe 25 films that I watched for the first time this year. and if this comes out in 2024 from 2023. So thanks for watching everyone, and until next time, take care.